story time. So on one Saturday, me and two of my friends decided to hang out, and the plan was me and one of them would go bouldering first, and the other one would meet up with us later because she didn't want to go bouldering. So you can already see where this is going. The keyword is bouldering. And actually, this is kind of funny, but there were already red flags about my uni's bouldering wall. The thing is, I don't know many people, but two of the not many people that I know someone else that broke their bone when they went bouldering at our uni's bouldering wall. And I really don't boulder much at all, but I've went bouldering at other places, but never at my uni. So I always felt that I have to try the bouldering wall at my uni at least once because I literally go here and it's free for me because I'm a student. And as planned, I went bouldering with my friend. And immediately when I started, I already didn't like it. I didn't like the climbing holds. They just didn't feel good. But I kept going because I'm already here, might as well put some effort in. And then when I was on one of the routes, when I reached the top, my hands just gave out, so I ended up falling and I fell on my right foot. I actually heard the cracking sounds, but I thought that was just the same as cracking my knuckles. I didn't expect to have broken any bones. And immediately, I felt the pain. It was throbbing pain. And my friend was like, "Are you okay? That didn't look good." I don't remember the exact words he said. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here for a while. You can continue." And then I just sat there on the mat and I kept my foot flat on the ground and I just waited to see if the pain would go away. And it didn't. So after a while, I got up and I tried to walk over to, there were some chairs on the side. So I tried to walk over there and I couldn't walk on that foot at all because it hurt like crazy when I tried. So at this point, I thought, okay, I might have twisted it or sprained it. I don't know. And then I told my friend, I think I'm gonna tell the staff to see if they had any first aid or to see if they could help. So we grabbed our stuff and we went to the counter where the staff was at, which was quite a long walk, and it took me a while to get there because I was taking like tiny steps. And then I told the staff and they called the first aid team for me and they just gave me some ice and told me to keep it elevated and to wait until Monday to get it checked up at a clinic because it was a weekend, so most of the clinics were closed. And that was all fine because I didn't think it was that serious anyways. And luckily, my friend drove that day, so he said he could give me a ride home. Also, at this point, our other friend already got to uni because we were all supposed to meet up there, and she actually came early. But then we had to walk to a different building where my friend could actually drive his car to pick us at. So both of them helped me, like, like one on each side, and they acted like crutches for me, kind of. It was kind of funny, but it was so embarrassing. They forced me to do it because I wanted to walk by myself, but it's a good thing that they forced me because I think if I really did walk by myself all the way, then I think it might have gotten worse. Anyways, then we got in the car and there was a clinic that was open that day, but it was pretty far, so I just said I wanted to go home. And then I went home. And it was kind of sad that our hangout ended like that because we were planning to go to a cafe to do work together after, but that was it. And then I went home, and my brother was home, and I already messaged him and I told him what happened and stuff. I just went to my room and I just sat there and I elevated my foot and continued putting ice on it. And I just didn't do anything, and my brother cooked lunch. I think it was 2 p.m. at this point. And my brother cooked chicken rice. And after a couple of hours, my mom called and she asked me, "Oh, how was hanging out with my friends?" Because I told her that I was going out with my friends today. And I said, "Oh, I came back early because I fell and now my foot hurts." And I just told her what happened. And then she got really worried and she wanted me to go to the hospital. And I didn't want to because I can be very stubborn sometimes. But she kept on insisting, so I decided to call the 24-hour medical advice line. And I got to speak with a nurse, and she asked me about my symptoms and if I could walk, and I told her I couldn't. And she told me if I can't put any weight on it, then I should get it checked out. And so she told me to go to the emergency department at a hospital. And I told my mom what the nurse said. And we don't have a car, so me and my brother had to call an Uber to the hospital. And because I didn't have crutches or anything yet, I couldn't walk. I literally hopped into the Uber. And the Uber driver saw me and he was concerned. Like, his face, he was like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And when we arrived at the emergency, at the entrance there was a ton of wheelchairs, which was great, and I was able to get one. And it was my first time using a wheelchair, and I was kind of surprised at how easy it was to push myself and control it. So yeah, we had to line up to get checked in. And also, the vibes at the emergency was just really, really depressing. Everyone looks like they're either in pain or just really tired. I don't know, but the minute I entered, I could just feel the sad energy and the sad mood. And then it was just a lot of waiting. I did an x-ray, and then I had to wait to see the doctor. And my brother ended up going home because it was getting late, and that was a good decision because I didn't end up seeing the doctor until like 1. And we got to the hospital at, I think we got there at 7-ish. And when the doctor came in, he just asked me how I was doing, and he introduced himself. And then he said, "I have some bad news." And immediately I was like, what could it be? And then he just said he took a look at my x-ray and I've broken a couple of bones. And he was saying how they were at a complicated part of my foot. And then he said they're gonna do a CT scan to check if I have a specific injury called a Lisfranc injury. And if I did have that injury, then I would have to do surgery. And I had no idea what that injury is. I'm assuming it's just named after the person who invented or discovered that injury. But this was where I really started to get worried, and I was praying that I didn't have that injury, because if I do, I would have to get surgery, and then it would really complicate things. And then he asked me if I have any questions, and I just asked if they were going to give me crutches after we were finished. And he said, yeah, they'll make sure to measure it for me and everything. So then I did the CT scan, and there was more waiting, and I saw the doctor again. And this time he said, I have good news. And it turns out I didn't have that specific injury, and my bones were aligned well, so they will heal on their own. And I was so relieved. Like, thank God I did not have that, because that would be so bad. And then I'm not sure why, but a different doctor then came and saw me, and he asked me if I wanted a boot. And he told me that he recommended a Birkenstock instead. And I didn't know what that was at the time. And he looked like he was judging me for not knowing what it was. And he showed me some pictures of it. And he said he recommended it over the boot. And then I said, I think I'll just go with the boot, because I have no idea where to get that kind of shoe, and I don't have any shoes like that. And then he just looked like he was disappointed in me. And he went off to the side to tell the nurse. And the nurse was grabbing the boot for me, and the doctor from before, like the first doctor that I saw, he was there too. So the three of them were there at the side, and they started talking. And they were kind of just discussing amongst themselves, and they were talking about how I shouldn't have asked for the boot, and it would just be better for me if I didn't get a boot. And I could hear everything. So in my mind, I was like, okay, fine, I won't get the boot, whatever. So when the nurse came over to me with the boot, I was like, actually, I think I'll try to buy one of those Birkenstocks instead. And then the nurse went back and she literally said, yay, we convinced her. I don't know, man. that was really interesting. I just wanted to go home at this point because it was 3 in the morning. And then after that, I called my brother and he came to pick me up, and we just took the Uber home together. And when I went home, I searched up Birkenstock, and it turns out they are really expensive shoes. They cost like 120 if I'm not wrong, which costs more than the boot. And I was like, what the heck? In the end, I didn't end up buying a Birkenstock, and I didn't get the boot either. So because they said an orthopedic, which is a bone specialist, would call me in 1 to 2 weeks to follow up, so I just decided to wait until I go see them. So I was just barefoot for 1 week basically, and they did call me pretty quickly, and I was able to go see them in a week, which was great. And when I did, they gave me a boot. But it was cheaper than the one at the hospital, so I'm still glad that I didn't get one from the hospital. Oh yeah, and the day after I got home from the hospital, I actually went back to the emergency because I noticed that my foot, when it was down, it would very quickly change into a darker color. It looked like a zombie color, I don't know, and it would only go back to normal when I elevate it. And so I called the medical advice number again, and I just asked them, and they told me that's not normal and to go back and get it checked. So I went back, and turns out it's normal, and I just had to elevate it. So yeah, everything was fine. And that brings us to after the whole hospital thing. And for the first 2 weeks of my injury, my brother literally did everything for me. He cooked almost every meal, and he would bring food to my room for me because it's hard for me to hold anything when I'm holding the crutches. So I was just literally living like a pig in my room, just sitting there all day. And also, I took a week off work because I asked the doctor to give me medical leave, and he gave me 2.5 weeks off, which was amazing. But I ended up only taking 1 week off because I want money, and if I don't work, I don't get paid. But I was very happy about taking a week off because I only had 2 weeks left in my internship at the time, and I was just so burnt out with everything that was going on at my work because there was actually a lot of drama, but I will talk about that another time. And so for my final week, I just worked from home. Also, the first couple of days of using crutches made me so sore. I need to train my muscles. Right now, I can also see that my muscle in my right leg has shrunk, and it just looks skinnier than my left leg, which looks kind of weird. Also, I don't know if this is related or not, but my leg hairs have been growing a lot. Like, they're getting bushier, which is really weird because I've always had pretty fine leg hairs and I've never shaved them because they're just not that visible. But recently, I don't know what's going on. They've just been growing to the point where I feel like I might want to shave them. I'm really confused. It could be because my brother has been cooking almost every day, and all he cooks is chicken. So I've been eating a ton of chicken every day. But I don't know, I'm not seeing hair growth anywhere else, like on my head, besides my legs. So I don't know what's going on. Anyhow, this video is getting way too long. My voice is giving out. I could talk forever. I actually have a lot more things I want to say because even though I'm confined to my room, I feel like I've been doing a lot of things, and I've been so productive ever since I broke my foot. But this video is getting too long, so I think I'll just make a part 2. Also, I'm very scared that my friends are going to find this video one day because it would be very obvious that it's me, but I really hope that they don't. They don't play Minecraft, so hopefully this never ends up in their YouTube. In conclusion, obviously it is my fault that I broke my foot because I fell the wrong way and I landed the wrong way. And I never took the time to learn how to fall the right way. But I'm also going to blame the cushion or the mat because it makes me feel better. And it's kind of sus because my brother also went bouldering at my uni before, and he said the cushion was not good there. And the fact that I know people who know people that broke their bones there. And there's two of them, and now I'm the third one, so that's kind of sus. But yeah, anyways, thank you for watching. Goodbye.